All right, peace, family, peace. We are now live. We are now live. We are now live. Let everybody know, brother Rich, brother Panic is live. They
Yes,
say Rich
sir.
don't ever be on time. It ain't my fault, yo. I be trying. I be trying hard.
Had them floods out there,
I be
boy.
trying hard.
They
You know what I'm
lucky
saying?
anything's happening after that shit you told
Yeah,
me today.
yeah. So family. So I know a lot of y'all was on the live with Aquarius Maximus, and you seen the flood was coming. Never seen nothing like it in New York. I'm good, family. I had to cancel my show yesterday, family, because I spent the majority of the day cleaning up, and I was just exhausted from cleaning up the basement. I had to go to the backyard, clean up the backyard and everything. So I was just exhausted. But I'm gonna reschedule that show for next week. But literally, family, I've never, ever seen nothing like that in New York. Ever. Like the city was fucked up, big time. So yeah, but I'm good though. But yeah, it's a sign of the times. A sign of the times. I'm sure Panic could bring that up during our talk. Welcome back, my brother. Good to have you back on here.
Great to be here once again with Brother Rich. It's actually been a long time since we did an interview.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only God on the planet that I will do an interview for.
I appreciate that,
Happy
my
to
brother.
be here. Happy to be here. Only questions that are worthy of actually
Worthy.
answer.
Oh man, let me get to a few ads. I want to give a shout out to my brother King Simon real quick. Let me show this to y'all, then we could get started. Let y'all settle in. Get you something to eat, a little snack if you want to. It's what is Friday night, right? It's Friday night. If you want to get a little drink or smoke or whatever it is you do, shrooms or something,
Good question.
Let's let me see.
Yeah,
Let
let's
me.
get some of these.
Oh man.
Well, I'm trying to get the camera right. There we go.
Oh
We're gonna get a
man.
pack of these joints cracking. Some of these
Mm.
golden teachers.
All right, I had that before. Real quick,
Yeah.
family. Number 347-496-1022. Holla at my brother King Simon for your numerovation consultation. You can text him your full name and date of birth, and the brother will get back to you and let you know what's going on. He's one of the best with that. So make sure you support the brother, good brother. Also, shout out to Copper Child Mike L, the brother that sponsors the show, that the hats I wear. He calls them crowns. Shout out to that brother who puts together the crowns that you see a lot of people in the community wearing. That's an awesome brother. His contact information is going to be in the description as well. With that being said, oh man, you had mentioned a book, Panic. The last show we was on Tuesday. Yeah, Cyclomancy. Cyclomancy. Now, yeah, so that book is sold out now. It's no longer available.
Out of print.
Tell me, before we get into the interview, tell me a little bit about the book and why that book is so rare. Why do you think it's so rare right now and hard to find?
Okay. It's been out of print. Let me see. It was first printed in, let me see. Printed, looks like 1962, but hold on. This shit is so a little bit older, so it's a little bit weird. They don't have it on that second page. Yeah, I remember finding it before. Let me see real quick. But for the sake of time, I remember it being in the 60s when it was printed. It's on here somewhere. So what stood out about it? In the time, this had to be in the year of perhaps 2007 or 8. And at this time, I was in a heavy spiritual thing going on. I told a little bit of the story where there was this Bobby Hemmett love tape, they called it, that everybody was trying to get their paws on.
Oh, Misconceptions of Love? Was it that one?
See, I don't remember none of the type.
It was with Shabazz? It was with Shabazz?
With Shabazz.
Okay.
I think not Misconceptions. I don't know. It might have been. If you remember, we did the second one with him. He did number 2, and that one actually had me on it because of what happened when I watched number 1. So when I finally got my hands on this one, it wasn't the Metaphysics of Love and Sex. Maybe it was that one.
Okay.
Maybe it was that one. But it was one of the ones that was supposed to be one of the ones. So at this time, I was still working IT. I had to get up whatever time in the morning, and it was late, so I couldn't watch the whole thing or enough of it. But I was so dying to get this tape. I watched about an hour, and he was kicking it. He was just saying shit that was just made basic sense at the time. Like, your lover isn't responsible for your love. It's your love, it's your chakras, it's your heart. You're responsible. And really, through that person, it's really you letting go, you finding love that's really in you. Oh, here's some babies. You're finding love that's really in you. So all of this was like boom, because you know you're always taught this bitch better act right. You know what I'm saying? This nigga better act right. Otherwise, you know, the consequence. But you know, you learned and you go through this silly argument thing. Now, when him just saying it like that brung the ball back in your court, and someone who was trying to understand how to master self, that little note was an important thing. He said other things that was important on this tape. I thought that stood out. He talked about a movie called Adaptation with Nicolas Cage, and he talked about Nicolas Cage was playing the twin, and his brother was telling him, "Man, I really love Cheryl, and Cheryl was the greatest in my heart and my first love." And then his brother told him, "Well, she used to make fun of you. She used to talk behind your back. She didn't love you at all." And Nicolas Cage said, "Well, that's her problem. I was in love." So what Bobby was pointing out was, you have to be in love. It's about your love. And before I watched, I was just taken back by that alone in the first hour. And when I went to sleep, I made this vow. I was like, I want to know what the divine feminine has to tell me, no matter what it is, no matter where it takes me. I'm ready. And then went to sleep, woke up an hour later, had hives all over my body. Thought I was going to be a motherfucker at work. But it kind of went away. And niggas go, I was on the internet when the first Pixel opened up. I was already signed up on all of that shit in beta. So I signed up on Black Planet when everybody, including the news, said never meet someone offline. It's instantly rape. I had no idea that people were doing this. So when I got back to work, everybody's on Black Planet, and niggas started telling me, yeah, I met my wife on Black Planet, and you know, we're doing everything, you know, from Genesis to Revelations with these chicks, and these chicks are doing, you know, the same to us. I was like, oh, well, let's investigate. Let me just warm up this account. And the trend was to inbox you. And then in the inbox, the next step was to ask for your IM.
Right.
Or whatever. That was where it was. You would get it and burn around the country. And it took me a few months to realize that's what I asked for. And that's how she responded. And it was intense because there were ancestors coming through these women. And some of them motherfuckers like aunts to me. You know, they're my friends' moms. You know, I'm talking about who knew me forever. Like, you never had relish before? That's relish. Relish is good. Like, you know, that little that I could see them. So one of the first things I learned that sex is a greeting or a meeting in that world. It's not like how we view it here. So Rhode Island was along that journey. And I love Rhode Island. I used to hang out in Rhode Island when I was young. So I was glad there was an occasion for me to go back, and went to a used bookstore. and grabbed a lot of stuff, then started looking at this book here, Cyclomancy, out that store. Now, the order of the day, and here's where it gets important. This is all of that stuff got me to this store. The order of the day was each book you would read, you would see it now. There's this warning: what you do may come back twofold on you.
Mm-hmm.
All that's bullshit to scare you or scare us more or less from really getting into some super funky cold Medina shit.
Right.
So now, but it still is that stigma in your head. You know what I'm saying? You still, no matter how much you read, you still hear that warning. So it's an effective ass mind control tool. Now, it takes you a while to get past that shit. But then you hear why Simon was forced to put a warning in his Necronomicon book, because motherfuckers was fucking with those spirits, those Sumerian spirits, and really getting fucked up in the 70s. And so it's stuck in your mind. Now, about this book, there was no warning. He's talking shit. Pretty much how to see through women's clothes with X-ray vision. He's going all, it's just like a comic book. I'm like, nigga, say it ain't so. And then when you read his other works, you see, oh, he was about that. Cycleria, which I did something on about how to open and close your astral valve to pull down from the astral through that silver cord. We did a whole book on that. He's got other things about psychic power control, how to do that. Let me say this before I forget. There's a movie about this book, loosely, about the whole style of this book, called The Master. The Master. It's a terrible movie. Joaquin Phoenix is in it. So you know he tries to be real fucking Joaquin Phoenix-y. That's the dude who played the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of them artsy movies. What's the dude? He died. He killed himself, actually, on drugs. He's in it, one of his last performances. But they're doing all the fucking exercises, or a lot of the exercises from Cyclomancy in the movie. She goes, look at my eyes. He goes, what color are my eyes? He goes, they're blue. He said, see them as brown. Look until you see brown. You'll never see brown per se, but the act of using your imagination to see brown,
right?
That's the point. It's not the destination. It's doing. It's what you're doing, and I'm gonna get harder into this a little bit. Is trying to break down what you call reality. You stuck yourself on reality based upon your agreements. A book like this starts breaking down your agreements with little things you call reality. And it starts putting you in a mindset of spirituality. All things are possible, or more creative and what you call it, visionary in your thought process and how you factor in how you see yourself. We see ourselves with some pull yourself up by your bootstraps. A B equals C, 5 plus 4 minus 7 equals 2. If we can see ourselves and visualize through our imagination, you go a little bit further in terms of how you magnetize. But we're fighting against a reality that we've already have defined in stone. As up is up, left is left, right is right, and that's how it go. You go to Harlem, you don't wear that. You go to Queens, you don't wear this. All of that is agreement. I don't go outside. I don't wear pink like the ones that just lost to Jada Kiss. That's my new name for the group. And I don't wear pink like that. So to me, that's, though I have pink shit, you know what I'm saying? But you know, you ain't gonna catch me in the whole fucking pink flow with a pink mink. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not a reality for me. That's not something that is real. It's not even my era. You get what I'm saying? So we have these agreements of reality. My grandfather, your grandfather's agreement with reality is very different from his son's. And extremely different from yours. And your son will be different from all of our asses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Reality. So what books like Cyclomancy would do, or one of the best I've come across thus far, Cyclomancy does, it gives you exercises on breaking down reality. And we'll go to the kind of a next question after this one last point. One of the first exercises in Cyclomancy, and no one gets it. How do you not get this? I find people asking me this question all the time. He'll tell you, take a bowl of hot water, a bowl of cold water, put one hand in each one, and perceive, which he'll say, make the hot water cold and the cold water hot. These Negroes think you're supposed to change the goddamn temperature. Who the fuck are you, the Green Lantern or some shit? That ain't happening. What you're supposed to do is try to question your perception. What is hot and what is cold? What's cold to you may be hot to me. What's hot to me may be cold to you, which means there's no line in the sand that says that's hot and that's cold. That's clearly a case of perception. Oh, it's cold in here. No, I feel great. So understanding that as perception, but is one of the things we tricked our mind into believing hot is hot and cold is cold, based upon your definition of temperature, is trying to tell you to break that line down. And that's really the trick here. What it is you think you are as a human being must go to, what the fuck is that noise? To raise up the spirituality in you. You're really destroying your thought process. When you say I'm destroying panic, it's not the physical that you're doing. That's going to happen. You're destroying what you think panic is, what you've been trained into. You're trying to question that constantly. And that's the trick. So this book here, which is now all over the web, I do still sell PDFs. If you just the guy who just can't find PDFs online, if you're not that guy, you know what I'm saying? Well, you could come get it for a good, I still sell it the same cheap price I've always had. Because I introduced it to the game, so I feel a little bit personal. But ultimately, if you're good at getting it, you'll get it. You'll find it. Find it, get it, enjoy it. But we'll go into the next question, and I'll tell you some of the benefits of the book as well when I dealt with it.
Okay, excellent start, man. Excellent start. Make sure you'll get that PDF online, family. Cyclomancy. Before we continue, before I forget, I want to give a shout out to everybody who bought my mother's book.
Oh yeah.
Shout out again. Kayla Petey in the Forest.
Kayla
Petey in the Forest.
In the forest.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody.
That illustration is
it's crazy, right?
I can't wait to put that in my I want one signed one for my granddaughter, but I'm gonna get a few copies.
Okay.
I know some Khadijah may know some kids we can pass it out to crew like Courtney. We got some folks. But excellent. I want you and your sister to sign your mother's book for my granddaughter.
Definitely. I need to tell you a ritual my mom used to do too. I don't know if I'm gonna say it on this show or off here, but later on we'll get into that. I'm gonna see how we flow, but because I want to get your opinion on something that I borrowed from her and that I continue. That's crazy effective. The magic is crazy effective. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyhow, before we're about to start the questions, family. Shout out to everybody who got it. If you didn't get it, the link is in the description. My mom got a book she wrote before she passed away. It was her and my sister. She wrote it with my sister. My sister just published it. It's available now on Amazon. You want the family to go out there and support it. If you have children, if you know children, you just need it. All right. I think it's like $7.99 or something like that. Real cheap book. But thanks for everybody who supported, man. It means a lot to me, family. All right.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad they rocking with that. I love to see that.
Yeah. Got a lot of support.
Good business.
Got a lot of support. Shout out to Cafunia, Mr. G, everybody who bought and supported. King Simon, everybody who showed Billy Carson bought 21 copies. Everybody who bought and supported. All right, family. All right, let's continue to get into the show. Like now, this is amazing. Death is something that has mystified humanity for forever. I want to ask you, I guess to start out with Panic.
Yes.
We're talking about, psychic power and death and life after death. All right, so from what I understand, when we say the word conscious, like we got the word conscious community or consciousness kind of flickers off and on like a light switch. So
I'm glad you said I'm already where you're going. I love it.
It seems like we dead half the time anyway, because it's flickering on and off in this realm and another realm because we're multidimensional. So what I'm getting is that half the time we're here, half the time we're not here, but it's happening so fast we don't realize it because of how we're taught to perceive reality. So my question to you, Panic, would be is if we're multidimensional, what percentage of our consciousness is even actually in this realm to even experience this realm?
I don't know if you could really put a number on it, but let's say we had to, then I'm going to use the same 10% of brain power that they say you have, or the 10% of tide you give up.
Yeah.
If I had to put a number on it. But the first thing I want to say is this to set the record straight, and you would know anyway. Consciousness does not mean you have knowledge of self.
Right.
Those are actually two different things. Consciousness came about when more and more were gathering, and people were gathering from many different places. But when that gathering happened, no one argued, no one yelled, no one felt anything. Everyone just gave an offering, and everyone perceived it as just information that it was up to you to accept or reject. Now, the person that would show up would be called conscious. Doesn't mean he knew anything. Right. He was classified as conscious as a description because that description meant something in the regular world didn't sit right with him. He doesn't even know what it is yet. But he's conscious because he's not sleeping like everyone else. So we just generally said conscious, he's here, he's conscious. But it does not mean it's knowledge of self. So anyone who says they're conscious may not be on the up and up, on the level. You can't just say because they say they're conscious, somehow they represent everyone in this chat room, all the people that study so hard, that do get the books that we talk about, that do follow, that do show up, that are aggressive and do the work. So, knowledge of self. If we're multidimensional, I started to realize what happens. Let's say they tell you Panic comes home and makes a choice for lunch. Every particular choice he had is being played out somewhere. Spaghetti, ravioli. If Panic still ate beef, then whatever beef. That it could be endless just off of lunch. Doesn't make sense that all of these people are living off of a lunch thing. We got to think a little bit. And then after lunch, we do the same thing all over again for dessert. And if I take chocolate mousse, that's a whole nother life path. Versus, nah, that doesn't sound right. See, we hear these things, and I try to always get students to use their own mind to follow it through. It doesn't sound right just on the surface, which means you have to dig more. And when I dug more, I found out, boom, waves and particles. When they talk about the two things, they say when you observe they turn to particles. Remember that? And when you're not observing, it's quantum waves. So if all of those things happen, it's all just data. You're not living it out. What you're living out is what you observe. So there is a panic that lives in the street, a panic that has flying saucers, does cartwheels, goes to Central Park every day, panic who doodles in a cup and plants. All of that exists as data, as zeros and ones. But I, who observe, can become any of those guys with my observation. So I'm pulling from data, and all of those possibilities are there in a quantum level. There's no panic on this planet, panic, virtual Earth number 4,732. Panic the doctor. To what end? So when do you die? Does Panic the Doctor dead when I die? Do all the panics die? Do I get peace? How can I get peace? Where's my soul at? How many souls do I have? And that shit don't add up. When you start saying we live, yes, it's happening, but if we're not observing it, it's not being played out. It's like data. So everything we possibly do is data. Panic, who did the panic, and all them choices, it builds up into zeros and ones. My observation or laws of attraction can make me that dude. That's why when you were 18, you were one individual. And then when you was 25, you was a whole nother entity. It's like your attention went from Rich, who liked the New Jack Swing at 18, to Rich at 25, who was all about that Def Comedy Jam life. Then Rich at 30, you know what I'm saying, who had his office gear on, you know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. Then Rich at 32, 33, who said, hey, listen, so I don't even want to say 33. I am not and don't know shit about Mason, nothing. I'm not connected to that. I do not care. That is folly to me. Like, what are we going to do? Go there and talk about, well, you know, whatever. But ultimately, I don't want 34, Rich, might have said, oh, this information. And you were observing a new Rich. So where was that Rich at? Where was he waiting at? Was he living out a life somewhere? No, he's here because you seen in your mind who you wanted to be. I want to study this shit right here. This is interesting. What you're doing is now changing your consciousness to another parallel dimension. And it's being played out on this grand stage of Earth. There's not many Earths. I don't know. Right? Because I don't know. These are things we really don't know, to be quite honest. But we have to speculate how I just speculated. So, yes.
Panic, when we change our consciousness to parallel dimension, like you're a different entity right now because of, you know, your level of awareness than you were when you were young. So should you not share that past from that entity you were when you were young? Because this version of you didn't experience that, because this is a different version of you. So well, does that eliminate your past?
All you though, but let's not forget, they're all you. It's all your data. It's like my computer has data. You ever get your laptop? How the fuck did this get full? But you're not utilizing everything at once. When you're using Word, you're not using the internet versus playing a game versus Netflix versus whatever. So you're doing one thing at a time. In the computer, there's your hard drive, which saves all your data, then RAM memory, consciousness, subconsciousness. Computer, stop. Consciousness, subconsciousness, right? So in your subconscious are all of these panics. They're all me.
Right.
So the little young panic is still connected to this guy. Or if I was a doctor, that guy. Or if I sold hot dogs in Central Park, that guy. You get what I'm saying? That would just be the path I chose. So you're choosing your paths. During slavery and this Holocaust, What white people try to do is get in your head, mind control you into picking paths that they want you to choose. They want you to act like they want you to act. So you normally would be who you're going to be. You shift parallel dimensions all the time. You're not the same guy. I'm not even the same guy when I started speaking on Blog Talk. You know that morning I'm more crass, more what the fuck, nigga. And you just learn while it's seeming like you're learning more, but you're shifting consciousness. We say it all the time. So what is that? You're going into your hard drive and putting something in RAM that you now know is better. Or we say it this way: we're going into darkness and bringing forth a new light. So, Rich, you're much smarter, you're much wiser. That's what your parents said each time they seen you grow from each stage. You know, oh, you got so tall, you growing a mustache. Look at his shoulders. Remember that era? And then afterwards, oh, look at Rich. He looked like one of them boys from outside with all his sneakers.
With the do-rag, yeah, I remember, yeah.
Develop, but what you're doing is actually seeing who you want to be. I remember saying, wow, I like these cut-up jeans. I'm going to start cutting my shit up. I'm going to be that guy. And then, you know, before you know it, wait a minute. How am I dancing to house music? Let me take off some of this cut off shit. But you know, it's all you. So this is really the paths that you're choosing, and that's really the key. There's no way all this shit is being played out. Where? I mean, to what end? Like you're gonna meet another Panic. Hey, I'm the dark side Panic or the light. I'm the church Panic. No, I could have been the church Panic here because this is the stage. So all of those particular parallel universes are in you, and you bring them out with your attitude. I want to be a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. That's all. I don't see nothing that said anything different. Again, a lot of this shit, you have to use your own mind because no one just wrote it out. There's about 4,557 Earths, and you're on every one of them, nigga. Deal with it. No one said that anywhere. People are saying this and saying that. So then when I know it's not the way people are saying straight out. There's a parallel universe with every choice you could have made and all the choices in your grasp. That's endless. Should you go to the bathroom in 3 minutes or wait till after the show? And then that's a whole life that spewed off. I don't doubt it, but it's all up here. And if more major things are what you change and not bathroom times, you know what I'm saying? Am I going to stop eating beef? You become a new nigga. You're pulling, that guy exists. That's why you can see it up here. Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't really eat steak. Hamburgers, the only thing. They got turkey burgers, veggie burgers. That's you really magnetizing that, or you really just retrieving the data. What you're doing is being able to see that guy. You're asking him to come forth and be a part of this. You're asking to observe it now. It's in its waveforms. You're asking to look at it. I see this guy. You're starting to look at it. The same way when we start seeing bad shit, oh, this shit is not going to work, oh, this and that, we say, stop talking like that. Stop thinking like that negatively, because we understand innately if you can visualize it, you're giving your attention to it, and that's what makes it in this world. That's what brings it to this world. I see nothing outside of it. Again, you have to forward think with that, channel with that. That's nothing I've seen in the book where I can say, look, nigga, go read it. But it sounds solid to me until I find something else. And that's the key. If I find something else greater, I'll throw all of that away. But until now, that's the best I got on it. You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
Right. In terms of, yeah, because what I do know ain't no goddamn, it'd be fucking uncountable niggas, you know what I'm saying, walking around.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right.
But, we're talking about psychic powers and stuff like in the book Cyclomancy.
Right.
You know how growing up we always heard if a person starts to lose their hearing, their eyesight pick up, or
Right.
if they start to lose their eyesight, their hearing picks up. Is
Right.
it like that with your intellect and your intuition when one is when one is up there, the other one's down, or when if I got a high intellect, it's kind of hard to have a high intuition, or if I have a high intuition, it's a little hard to be intellectual as a lawyer or some shit like that. Is it like that with that?
Very fucking on point question.
Mm.
Hells to the year.
Mm.
Kenny Manza was my assistant.
Mm.
This motherfucker was so and is
Mm.
I call that nigga Data. He's Black Data.
Data.
Star Trek.
Yes.
Google standing. And
Damn.
that's how he always was.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's what made I said, Kenny, the Shy Lights 1953. He just like, damn, nigga, like, how you know that? Shit. And then he'll add some erroneous information like Data. Yeah, well, they used to have a beach, right off their property, and they used to do nigga. The Shy Lights. So he was real logical, and that's why he sat with me, because he did have a spiritual breakthrough. But he's been coming around again lately, and there's a lot of data going on. But I could see he now maybe understands the two. And it's hard, like people fall into logic as a safety net. Logic is what we call intelligence, but it's a product of the ego. And so spiritualists are really the very question you ask is, I'm a product of someone who knows how to be intellectual and spiritual. That's a hard thing.
Right.
Bobby knew how to do that. Mm-hmm. So when Bobby met me, we kind of bonded because you don't find many. If you notice, in each time, you can tell even the last thing that all of us did. You had Brother Phil and Billy, who were logical. You see me, I'm laughing, giggling, still can make jokes. I don't come with logic. It's like I come a whole different way, and I know how to do that. I know how to speak from the spirit, but I also know how to take your ass through a book escapade as well. That's hard. That's very hard for folks. And I see it's really one or the other a lot of the time. And once I start associating in class logic with the ego and explain that in detail, some people see their plight, but some people you can't see. It's like you can't see what your nose looks like. So they try to even understand it with logic. They can't just get out of it. I've seen that problem before. So that's a big deal. You got to understand the nature of logic and the ego. People still think you got to beat your ego, eradicate it. You need to understand it and appease it where it needs to be appeased. Put it in its proper place. It's under you. What we have is it running us. And that's where it's really out of order. It's what we lead with. It's what we think we are when we come in pontificating.
And it's just the observer. It's just the observer.
It should be your intellect is how we should interact. And as human beings, it is a human trait. Again, it's a product of your ego. So your ego doesn't want to sound stupid. You don't want to sound stupid. That's right. In Mind Control 101, that's one of the 7 things. You don't want to sound like an asshole. So your ego doesn't want that. So what does it develop? Intellect. And you hide behind big words. You hide behind your outfit and your ability to not laugh when the joke is told that may be a little bit niggery. Oh, this nigger. You know what I'm saying? And you so when I see that, I understand the falsity of it. You're trained in understanding. You're trained to look for that. So I can meet you, let's say, for the first time and talk to you. No, I'm speaking to somebody just from this conversation who's coming to me from his heart.
Mm.
Then I know niggas that's coming for me trying to get likes and a great show and all, which we all should be trying to do. We shouldn't make our shit shabby, but we shouldn't stoop to low levels to get this across. This is about love and the heart. And this is about teaching, not about really hits in a fan base. So I can tell that when I'm interacting with people, because you can tell if they're coming with their ego, because that's what they lead with, because that's what protects them. When they come in with their heart, they'll sit openly, like you always sit open.
They're more relaxed, you mean? They'll be
more relaxed, but your chest is open.
Okay.
Because where you're coming from is here. So you're not blocking it, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You'll come and you'll be like, yo, panic, but yo, panic, or yo, whoever. You always do it. And then the intellectual dude, he's this dude.
Like
panic. You know what I'm saying? So panic. You'll see him do this too. You'll panic. You'll panic. They're trying to show in their body language that because they really scared they're going to ask me something that I'm going to say something to embarrass them. So this is a nervous feature. Like you thinking. So you're showing me that you're thinking, okay, nigga, let me, all right. Or, that, so you're trying to show me that kind of guy. And so that tells. I said, okay, this person, I'll see how hard they're in their intellect, i.e. hard hiding behind their ego. And that tells the story of them. They've already revealed themselves almost before they started talking. And that tells me how much spiritual work they did, because the intellect doesn't get in this spiritual work. We talked on Wednesday slightly and lightly about ancestors. But, you can't get everything across. But one of the things I will say just flat out, you ain't getting in with the intellect. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we told Kenny. He went home and worked his ass off on that. And next thing you know, he was dancing with Little Richard. He's like, Lucille.
You know what? I remember you saying that, Panic. I remember one time I might have been watching Love and Hip Hop or something. Right. And there was this dude there talking. You know how they do the interviews in the interview room where it's just them? Right. And he kept, let's say it's Peter Guns. Let's just say Peter Guns. And when he was doing the interview, he kept referring to himself in third person. Right. So like I'll be like, yo, I went to the store. Instead of that, he was like, Peter Guns said this, Peter Guns said that. So nigga
dude do that.
Who?
The one with the big lips.
Who?
And I hate to be just classifying that way. He's from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and his mom's is on the show too. He talking
Scrappy,
yeah.
Little Scrappy, yeah.
They all talk about themselves in the third person.
But now what I want to ask is that how we're supposed to refer to ourselves? Because the ego.
I don't fucking know. That's when you're gone.
That's when you go. Okay.
That's when you're gone. This is called know thyself, not know that other guy.
Yeah.
If you listen, a classic telltale sign of a nigga's fronting is when he refers to himself in the third person. He doesn't believe it. Panic isn't real. If I'm saying Panic will do that and Panic will do that, that means Panic said so many lies that I literally subconsciously have separated myself from. There's niggas in the conscious community started referring to themselves in the third person. They told me everything I needed to know before everybody already figured out whatever. And that third person thing. So I've always noticed that the person that does that doesn't want to deal with themselves in some sort of way. They put themselves in the corner. So that's like saying, that nigga Panic, man. That nigga, he just ain't saying he get me sick yet. He's just saying, yeah, you know how Panic do it, because Panic gonna come in and Panic gonna be doing this, Panic gonna do that, Panic gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, that's you. And then, or the other thing, like Beyonce did, made a character called Sasha Fierce.
Right.
Let me do you this. Let me hear you this. I never shared this with you. Panic is a character, my nigga. Yo, I remember this shit like the day is long, and we all fucking do it, and it caught me. I blew my mind when I got this channel. We used to get flyers. We used to there was a skating rink called USA. We gave out flyers for shows that we did. Me and this guy, DJ Hot Day. So we always had flyers stacked up somewhere that was already outdated. So all we did was get high. Me and Dane get high. Yo, let's go draw. Then I would go to the front, get the flyers, and I would draw Panic. And I would visualize who Panic was. Panic. Now, it started when I was 13. Dane actually picked the name for graffiti. That's all it ever was. I was drawing in the neighborhood, Panic. And I just kept visualizing who Panic was. What I was doing was channeling Panic. I was Larry at the time, but I visualized who I needed to bring here to do the work. I brung Panic here. Panic is destined to come here at a certain time in this body. That shit is real. Never told you that. Now, kept channeling him, and I would visualize what I thought Panic was. And I had to be 17, 18. So I'm thinking of my life. You know what I'm saying? How it was going to be. How it was going to be on the street, more or less. So now, from graffiti, niggas in the street is calling me Panic. So you graduate to that level. And I already knew who the character was, which is he existed in a parallel universe. But see, I'll do you one better. All of those parallel universes were Larry's. That were Data. Panic came from a little bit higher. That's why it took long for it to descend. Then ultimately, I stopped calling myself Panic. I was working IT, wasn't doing it. When I met Shabazz the first day, he said, "What's your name?" And something said Panic. I just told him Larry. I said Panic. He said, all right, you know what I'm saying? And it was like that was the purpose of it. But it's a channel. I just drew it every day and pulled it down. The same way that nigga name is Hands and Dirty and Liquid and Stuff. You know what I mean? These names that we see all over the street, you know what I'm saying, is like characters that you make and you create. Everything is a character. Right. This is a stage. Everything is a performance. So yes, you know, it was something I pulled down. And think in hindsight, I was able to see that, you know, doing a lot of talking to B.O.B. He's actually really good at his shit, man. Like, really surprising, really aggressive, really gets it. And he could fuck with some of the weirdest channels I get. Nigga, check it. I can't even say. Niggas, what this nigga done lost it. It's too hard. So unless I could filter it in a way people understand, them shits is just for us. So that nigga be down with that shit. And nigga. Da-da-da-da. So I was hitting him with that. So I remember channeling Panic. Every day we would just write. I would just keep writing Panic. I was trying to call what I needed here. When you take over that human body to do a work, now that's us. Half these niggas are stuck in this shit. And I'm sorry to tell you guys. And you're listening to this to get out of it. But to be quite honest, and I say it with no arrogance, already did this shit. You know what I'm saying? Already did it. And there's a few of us here who've already been through it. But the good news is you'll find it in the Kuan Yin Bodhisattva story about compassion, about those who turn around and see the compassion in human beings. You know, when I seen the Bodhisattvas in the museums, first in Brooklyn, I thought I was going crazy. It was made out of Uncle Hank talks about it now. And this herb is in the herb pack. It'll come back to me.
Acacia, not acacia, right? Not acacia.
That's it.
Acacia. Okay.
Acacia.
Okay.
It was a statue made out of acacia of the Bodhisattva. I took a picture of the name. I've never heard of this. Then when you go to the Met, they have a whole Kuan Yin Bodhisattva room right before you get to the Hindu spot, and was taken aback, like it was flooring me. Who the fuck are these guys? Called Bobby, told me to get a book called The Way of the Bodhisattva. You guys could find it. And he told me about the story of Kuan Yin. So I knew I was connected to that this is already a done deal. You already passed go. You already figured it out. You already got your goddamn t-shirt and your crown. But before you leave, they say you turn around and come back to teach the compassion. The Bodhisattva becomes Kuan Yin. That's why it was so profound when I was dealing with Tara. The crying, I'm sure I've talked about it with you with the crying and all the shit. It's connected to Kuan Yin. So another thing, I was complaining one time. I just told niggas, why niggas is still saying this? I said that clear as day. Explained it, and Bobby seen the frustration. So he was like, well, you've done it before. This is new to a lot of people. So a lot of these people, Brother Rich included, I believe, came back for this. And Brother Rich will tell y'all, and I know some of y'all are new, some of you guys are old, but there's at least 15 teachers y'all never heard of that were monsters that are gone. Heard something about, you know what I'm saying? Like just Richard King alone, you know what I'm saying? C. Freeman now. I know there's certain tapes going around. Richard King didn't have any tapes, I don't think, going around. Either way, when this circuit was going on, all these guys made the transition. Is it true Brother Dawood also made the transition?
No. He's still alive. He's still here.
He's still alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, all right. So, so in other words, that work, Rich, I think is done. I think that was it. Because all those teachers came. Like, whatever's left now is the cleanup crew. But you were clear back then that these people have been here before. When you was in a room with those heads, Rich, I'm sure Rich remember, you was clear. It wasn't just somebody sitting there talking. They had something. Francis Cress Wilson, Amos Wilson. Man, Amos Wilson will put you on your ass. Barashingo, you know what I'm saying? All these guys was badass. Asa Hilliard, you know what I'm saying? All made this all gone. You know what I'm saying? All gone. You know what I'm saying? That's all good. I'm waiting to join them niggas. I'm almost jealous. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm not gonna die.
Let me ask you this based on what you said. And reminded me of something I read in a book. This book, the name of this book is The Infinite Mind Field. You ever seen this one, Panic? All right, let me read this to you because it's something you said, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me read this. Okay. By evolving through space-time, by organizing itself into the complex variety of existence, God grows and learns endlessly, discovering awareness through each of us. God's countless inimitable selves. In our cosmic game of hide and seek, God hides within each of us, within all of creation and throughout space-time. God is disguised as the world. And the purpose of the game of creation is to uncover the divine, to explore the limits of who we are, to actualize God's self-awareness. Our very consciousness is the universe becoming aware of itself. God becoming aware of itself. Without us, God is incomplete. The divine sparks remain hidden. The divine potential is unrealized. It seems like God needs humanity. What we call God needs humanity more than humanity needs God. My question to you, Panic, will be, since a person would say you're anti-humanity, they would say, Brother Rich, they want to get the fuck out of here. But the essence of from which we come from, according to what I just read, from what I'm understanding, wants humanity to continue to realize itself and actualize itself and understand itself. So do you think our limited perspective wants us to not reincarnate down here when that is the very purpose God, designed this whole shit for?
Fuck God. I ain't doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's pretend that. But
Jesus
first
Christ.
of all, we're going to pretend what he said is real.
Yeah.
That we're taking that as fact. Because there's other shit we can bust out right now that contradicts that hard. God wants you to be a humanity because humanities are slaves that feed him with your goddamn thoughts. They said that shit in Clash of the Titans straight out. We're dying because the humans aren't praying to us. What you calling gods and those who are in a higher position than you are draining the shit out your ass. You calling them creators and all this mystical shit. What if for a moment you listen to the basic shit that everyone says, that you're God? So you chose to have a human experience for you to learn, for your particular reason, not for this whole, maybe there's a whole collective humanity thing. And I believe that, and I'll tell you why and how that would manifest. But you're here because you're God too. You're a part of that divine spark which makes you in control. So when you say I don't want to be here no more, job well done. You're not a slave. It's time for you to go, because trust and believe there's thousands coming back to replace your monkey ass. See, we think from a egotistical perspective. God needs us to get shit happening. Ain't nothing or nobody thinking about you. You became conscious and you started thinking about you. All of this is a way to do nothing. God, it's a fancy way to say, well, I'm working for God. I guess I'll go to Walmart and get me some fucking barbecue. You get what I'm saying? It's your God. Your mind is God. Watch the last season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where the black dude Benjamin Sisko is the captain, where they're outside of a wormhole in a space station. I would say watch the last season because that's when it all came to a head. If you're a fan and you feel like it, watch the whole thing. I thought they were okay, good enough. And it was good. The black dude overacts, but other than that, it's more Star Trek. But the last season, they started giving revelations and made a point. They found in the wormhole, which led them to a whole new universe, that there is a ruler of that universe called the Dominion. They didn't know who that was yet. They were enforced. Their army was the Jebhadar, I think their name was. They were niggers to the point where it was scary. Like, they're not even trying to hide this shit. And they were stuck on this shit called white drugs, which made them work for the Dominion. Now, throughout the show, they had on the first Star Trek Spock, somebody weird. Second Star Trek Data, Kenny Manza. You know what I'm saying? And in the third one, the one I'm talking about, they had a character called Odo, who was a shapeshifter. He said how I could turn into anything, but I'm most comfortable in a bucket as liquid. Turns out he's a part of the Dominion. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know where he was or his people. He was alone there. Turns out the Dominions are the same shapeshifters as him. The Dominion live on a planet where it's just one big ocean of all of them. They said, well, what we do, listen to this shit. They tell you in your face, is send pieces of us all around the universe. Some make it back, some don't. The ones who make it back rejoin the pool, and what they learned wherever they were at becomes a part of the whole collective or the mind of God.
Right.
God sends us out with parts of his mind, not God sends us out separate from him as humans. And then when you die, okay, Rich, what'd you learn? Start curling his hair. Hey, Rich, what's up with Harlem, man? Tell me all about it, Rich.
Yeah.
God ain't doing that. You're joining, your soul is Odo. Your soul, there's three parts of you. I couldn't tell you, this was too long for the ancestor show, but this would have went there. Your body, your spirit, your soul. Your body never leaves Earth. We can get rid of that. Your spirit can travel between Earth and the astral realm. When you die, your body stays here, your spirit goes to the astral realm. The cord is cut. You go to live there. Now, if you are operating with your mind, imagination, and visualization, your imagination is how you build your world or your home in this etheric place. If you have a tortured life here, you're in hell there. If you have an ignorant life, you could be in hell there. There's a book called Astro Travel by Gavin and Yvonne Frost. They're husband and wife. It's a little blue book you see everywhere. The first half, one of them wrote. The second half is on fire. The first half is okay. The second half picks up. They tell you about the characteristics of what you're going to see in the astral world during astral travel. You see people hanging around churches. I've seen all of that. Stuck people. There's people who still learn in the astral world and get out without even incarnating. My aunt said she wanted to stay with me and learn. Eventually, she came to me in a dream. She was an Orthodox Muslim. These guys were yelling, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. He changed to a Kala Akbar. I said, oh, she's telling me her new name. And so she got it from there. So your spirit stays alive in the astral world as long as people remember you. So as long as they're putting up pictures, not even spirit-wise, just your family. If you pass, they're all going to have, that's Richard, he was the grandpa, these are his grandkids. Rich used to make a peanut butter salad. You're going to make that tonight. If all of this, without spirituality, them remembering you keeps your spirit alive, because your soul may have gone and got another body. You may be eating that peanut butter salad as a kid now, or you may just go home, move on. I don't want to be here no more. I've gotten everything I need to get. But your spirit still will exist, because it is not a thing that needs something. It's a signature that Rich left behind. So what are the characteristics of Rich? Rich could talk, I would say. Rich could ask. Rich is a host. So if I'm ever in a situation, I say, damn, man, we need somebody to host us, man. That's really good, man. This nigga suck. Yo, let's fire this shit up. Get Rich's picture. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly what I'm putting up there. The fucking turkey burgers that you like so much.
Facts.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? Putting that up. And I'm just going to start there. Everything I can think of, your logos, your Rich. I'm just going, but see, I know how to just talk. I don't, Rich, I need you to come in, get in this dude's ass. So it's not like you're saying, okay, Panic. It's like you're just energy now. You're like plugging into electricity. This is how I plug into you, because your consciousness is gone. But I need that guy. How did that really work? Let's say I was the Dogon people and we worshiped and ate and drank and created the same minds in our culture for hundreds and hundreds of years. That means when people die, they expect the same thing. So in the astral world, their spirits are being collected in a location or a frequency where the Dogon can tell the young guy, young Panic, you have a question, ask the ancestors. So he's really picking from thousands of Dogon. Say, how do I make bread pudding? So one of them dudes made it. You understand what I'm saying? The ancestors are good for your human problems. The gods really, even Lakshmi, use Lakshmi for spiritual prosperity. You can use it for physical, but you always know a nigga that used to get money who's gone.
Right.
All that nigga. He knows Earth. He was here. So you think Lakshmi gives a fuck about Earth? She's an energy signature that's never been to Earth. Lakshmi, I need help with my rent. What's rent? So it may happen. You understand what I'm saying? Usually it's somebody else doing it because these things don't care about that. But your uncle or your cousin, your get money uncle, your cocaine uncle, he know how to get some dollars. That's who the fuck you call. You get that nigga coked up. So, yo, I need this, work with me on some shit.
What was that name Phil said? The Mustafa, or remember that? Remember? Muskavu or something.
Yeah, the Mustafa powder. But I remember them doing a whole lecture on that. Bobby talked about that powder too, that white gold, how they can shit float, and how they said white people took it over in the boat, and by the time they got to Europe, the shit floated all the way. They didn't cover it. Like, just dumb shit. But yeah, the Mustafa'lis.
Yeah.
Mustafa'lis, my nigga.
Wow, man. Wow. That is because there's some people that feels it's interesting that you say that. Some people feel as though, why not go straight to the plug? Why talk to the ancestors? They like the middleman. Why not go straight to the plug? You know what I'm saying? So
no, the ancestors know your story. That's their big deal. That's their big deal. What we've now did was church them and Jesus them. So now the ancestors, I'm trying to make the ancestors proud, like they sitting around. Gone. Work the stock market, Panic. You're doing your thing. Doesn't even make sense. They left this place. So their soul and their concern is somewhere else. But they left a energy signature. Know what we call that signature to make it easy for ourselves?
What?
The personality. So I know Rich's personality. That's how I entice his energy signature. Because I'm really just plugging into Rich. I'm talking to him like he's a personality, but I'm really communing with the energy. I need Rich's energy. This is who he was. You are that guy bottled up in a container. You release from that container. Now I have a name for that energy that I can call. Well, everything's an energy. Energy to walk to the store, energy to want to fuck, energy to want to eat this, that, or the other thing, energy to go say, shit, I got to go in here and talk to this chick. She's going to do that. Energy to pick up the baby. So everything's an energy that you call on. If Rich Merritt is no longer in the body, he's an energy, not a person that's Panic's done good. I'm going to ancestor him today. That's not how it works. It's like Panic, Rich don't care. He's not looking at me or looking for me. Maybe if you first made the transition, stuff like that would happen because your humanity is still looking and you starting to understand. And most people, niggas from the hood, will come to me because my light is on. So they'll ask me how to do that. My stepmother, my evil stepmother came. It was hard. Like when she came early on, like, bitch, you know what you did, bitch. So it was hard. Even though I know she's not the same person. But it's not hard for them, it's more hard for you. And going through what I understood with my grandfather, I said, all right, then what the fuck is up? She said, she left my father, got with a new dude and died. The dude is, that was still her dude. So my father was before that. So she's like, why is your father trying to get with me? I said, understand, on earth for a moment, there's a time where y'all were at the high point of bliss. When he gets with you in the astral world, because you're not one entity anymore. You're not a singularity. When Michael Jackson came, he talked about 1,000 niggas. How is he talking to you? And he was, I was like, no, he's not one guy anymore. So my father was trying to do was get with her to connect with that moment of bliss they had on earth and be able to live in that moment with her. That's a part of his arsenal as he builds a heaven in the astral world. Now, ultimately, heaven is the quantum world. That's the final destination, as you could say, even the Kamites seen it. The end result is our quantum reality in what they call the Osirian body, and you become all the gods, blah, blah, blah. But in the astral world, we just talking about, we hadn't gotten past the astral world yet. The astral world is a part of Earth, and it's a part of the illusion. When astral world is not an end result, not a destination, it's a part of it. It's every night you go to the astral world when you dream. You travel every night. It's nothing scary. It's nothing you have to do. What your true astral traveling is only becoming lucid of the traveling that you do. Now, waking up, I had a weird dream. Waking up, you're actually finding techniques to bring your consciousness in the dream with you. Excellent book, just like Cyclomancy, is a book called Astrodynamics by Robert Bruce. A how-to on exercises on astral traveling. When I did that shit, that was the shit that got me in. Astral traveling separates the men from the boys. Once you start fucking with that and you become competent in that world, that's when it starts talking back to you. You become lucid in that world. And becoming lucid in that world, more lucid in meditation, lucid in that zone out, you can stay in that moment because panic is there controlling it. Usually panic is back on Earth while I'm somewhere here. And then when I come back, my memory is trying to remember bits and fragments. When I bring panic with me was what you truly learn in astral travel. They tell you all that shit, and I did all that shit in the dream, move your hand, stop shit from you. Niggas was arresting me. I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm in a bed in a hotel with Khadijah. She's visiting. This was before we got together. She's visiting New York. Wake up, nigga. I've learned how to meditate. I've been meditating since I was 10. My father was deeply into that shit. And I could get so deep, like in a barbershop. They'll tap me. It's my turn. I can't just get up and turn. I'm literally sleeping. I would experience paralysis. So that same paralysis that people complain about, I could go that deep and be aware where I would literally have sleep paralysis if I tried to move. So I know how to consciously call myself back, wait for my spirit to get, because your spirit is what animates you. You're still alive because it's cut to the core, but it's actually in the astral world.
So what do you recommend when you have the sleep paralysis? Like for people, just
try not to get up. Just if you're aware enough, lay your ass there because it's going to be struggling. What happens is you come back into awareness in layers. So your consciousness comes back before everything comes back. So you're up and aware, and then you try to do what you do, but you're not totally back yet. And you can't move because your spirit is what animates you. So when you die, your spirit leaves and it lives in the astral world. It can come to Earth, that because it's the same thing. The astral world is more etheric, but Earth is more material. So that's why we can call spirits, give shit to spirits, physical things. We're in a symbiont relationship. This is not really your true high self. It is what the creator made to actually fool you. It's the dream world. When you check out the Gnostic shit, they'll tell you that the creator that they're calling God, like I said, it depends on what God that dude is talking about. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's an evil lesson. Like in Gnostic thought, there's the one true God. And he created 8 deities under him. Loose to run through the story real quick. The lowest deity was the Great Mother, Sophia. So the Great Mother Sophia couldn't see above her. And ego took a play. So she had a baby without the Holy Divine Spirit, recognized it, threw it in the abyss, Yaldabaoth. And of course, he seen what was happening as the mythology goes. He seen what was happening above his head, recreated it his best he could. For the firmament to rest his feet, he created earth, and to rest his head, he created the astral world. So what they're saying, where he controls your dreams, this creator that everyone's given. He needs this to unfold and look at himself and all that bullshit shit. In a way, that's true, but they're still attributing it to someone outside of you. You came here to do that for you. And we don't want to take, it's everything not to take responsibility. I'm doing this for somebody. I'm on a mission. Wait a minute. So this creator God sent you down here to get vaccinated, chemtrail, fucking flooded today, to worry about your fucking kid every goddamn time they move out the house, COVID, GMO food. When are we going to say, what if this is a fucking prison and what we teach is the escape path? What point do we accept that shit? We look for everything to say there's somebody running the show that knows more than us. We don't trust it. We don't trust in our divine mind. The fucking mind is all. Show me in the laws of Tahuti where they said, well, we just working something out for God. When did it show me the Egyptian text that says that? Because we have to go to that because that's most of the writing. But I don't know. I don't remember the Sumerian text saying that. Show me in the ancient text. That's later day shit. And I get the concept. You'll see that in Kabbalah more than anything. That's a Kabbalistic thing. But the Kabbalah is talking about the creator. Because the creator of the trees, or the understanding of the trees, let's say that, the creator of the front tree, the tree of life, where the cyphers hang as fruit, is by the demiurge and the creator God. Behind that tree that pushes it forth is the Kalipoth. And that's the true tree that pushes light out of darkness. Out of darkness comes light. One of the first things Bobby Hemmett told me before I started speaking, this ain't about no dark side shit. I've never come out going dark side, nigga, dark. That became a religion. I helped to stop that shit because it's out of darkness comes light. The darkness is that ignorance in you, and it must become the light side. I am a light nigga. You know what I'm saying? A nigga of light. And I'm willing to go into darkness to get it because that's where it exists. That's the alchemy. You don't get light from light. You get light from darkness. So why all the Baphomet and the Satan? Because that's the sciences of the darkness. That's the negative polarity that brings you to the other side of that coin. Positive polarity, Christ. You can't become the Christ until you become the devil. And they're the same thing. And not only that, Brother Phil just got finished explaining that on the last show, the bright morning sun. So if you understand, it's not dark versus light. Dark, just like hot and cold, as I pointed out in the Cyclomancy, is one thing. It's called temperature. And dark and light is one thing. It's called
temperature.
Right, it's light. Or light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can look at this. Well, black and white, or dark in illumination, if you want to say. And Brother Phil Valentine pointed out something a long time ago, and niggas should have blew a louder horn to this one statement. You know, Phil, well, beloved, he said, if you're in a room of all white light, you can't see shit either. The end. We tend to think in a room of darkness, that's our problem. But it's the contrast between the two,
right,
that makes you see. So darkness or light is not a choice. The alchemy is understanding how they mix. In my whole book, I told you how to mix the angels with the Goetia. That's the missing piece. And that's backed up by a white boy who got one of them OTOs for years, named Poke Runyon, which y'all can search on YouTube, where he's like, I'm tired of all the bullshit. I'm gonna give y'all secrets. He was showing all the white chambers in their white robes. But one of the things he said, the key is, he was saying basic shit like, y'all calling spirits and banishing them. Why would you do that after all of that work? He said, if you think you fucking with with the Goetia, and you drawing a circle and they staying in it, you a fucking fool.
Ooh.
Like, there's motherfuckers who just get it, even some white boys. It's something in you that can see through all the writing, all this philosophy. You got to follow it out. We're doing this for God. So why when did you sign up for that? Like, what do you get out of it? After it's all done, where you go? You understand what I'm saying? Like, it just makes more sense when you study all the ancient shit. It's on you. There's no, tell me what you seen in the Matrix that they said we doing this for somebody else. Everything was trying to get Neo to realize what was within. That's what consciousness is. When they say that shit, they make a philosophy, and it's a left-handed way to get you to believe that somebody lords over you still, put you down here, and making you do. You don't even know why you rich merit if you take that thing. Why are you that guy? Why am I this guy? You know what I'm saying? Why am I panicked? So he could see where we gonna kick it once I die. Yeah, boy, Jesus. Man, you had me in some shit. But let me tell you what happened. You know what I'm saying? He can come down like I thought he was God. What happened to that? Where's that philosophy? The know-it-all.
You know, Panic. One thing you said a little while ago. You said my light. You talked about your light being on, and you talked about your stepmother coming to visit you.
Right.
I want to ask a lot of the powerful people in this world when they were children, they went through horrific things, molestation, abuse. Let's just use Michael Jackson as an example.
Okay.
Do you think that the people who have the brightest light have the toughest childhoods because entities could see their light? So they're like, oh shit, that motherfucker down there. Oh, I'm going to get this nigga Panic or this nigga Rich. Oh, let's find a way to attach on to his light because this nigga is bright. Does it work like that between the different realms?
Good fucking question, Rich. Your ass is at it. Best at it. Best to ever do this shit. That's the only interview I do with you because you ask shit that's worth a dime.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Out here. Let me tell you. I know this half and half because there's entities that are if you are doing conscious work, it's not like they seen you go, yay, Rich, go. I'm on your side, buddy. What they see is you're lining up with a frequency. So they're kind of with you. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, if you wore a bow tie and a suit before you said anything, look at that Muslim nigga. Especially you got papers in your hand. You line up with the energy, and there's a spirit around you. He's a Moor. He's a Muslim. If we sat in the back of a lecture, every nigga that walked in, Moor, Muslim, Moor, Nubian, we would just be able to name them based upon the energy around. So you line up with certain energy. The more spiritual work you do, you line up with a certain energy. But now here's this. You also line up with a certain humanity. And the more human you are, there's energy around you that seeks to keep you human because it feeds off of it. So in other words, if you got a chick in the house, you a bad guy or a pimp, and you got a chick in the house, you're going to tell her and do anything to her and show her anything to keep her staying on the street.
Right.
And then there's her mother who's going to knock on the door like R. Kelly, do. Let her out. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going in there and knocking it down. That's an energy that wants to stop it. So there's always this duality energy around you. And your thoughts pull whatever's going to show up. Now, your thoughts, you also, like Michael Jackson, make a choice to get with Joe because you may know beforehand. I was talking today about this with B.O.B. There's an intelligence that we deal with before we even get here that says, okay, I'm going to go down there and be rich. I'm going to choose this as my mother. We're not dealing with time. We know she's going to pass at the age.
Right.
We know she's going to write her book. What's the name of the book again?
Kayla, Petey in the forest.
Kayla, Petey in the forest.
Yeah.
Kayla, Petey in the forest.
Yes.
So you seen all of this, and you know you needed her and your sister in your situation to become rich. Michael Jackson know he needed Joe to become Mike.
Yeah.
So he chose him as such. So much so Joe said, well, if I beat him, I beat his ass rich. Joe would say that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Now, I do know this, and Tina Turner said it. She embellished. You gotta be real. Each time Mike got into trouble, look at my childhood. You know what I'm saying? I don't think with the boys, just any other Elephant Man bone trouble. I think all of that was a lie. You know what I'm saying? But so I know it sells too. Because when I used to do that shit, I wasn't beating Tina. But you think that's what an abuser says. Then later Tina came out and said we was fighting each other. It wasn't so much one-handed. She said she came out and said it.
Right.
But she sold that Tina book and restarted her career as, what's love got to do? That corny shit got to do with it. And it really started her shit again, saying how much she overcome with Ike. And Ike is baffled. Like, you would see him in the news, like, what's she talking about? But he didn't have that pizzazz to finesse it. But also know that Ike was a bad motherfucker. Let's just say this real quick. Ike Turner, the three kings that changed the game. Ike Turner, Little Richard, and Chuck, the guitar nigga.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah. Those were considered the three kings. But Ike was vocal. Ike wasn't that nigga. They were trying to bring the white boys into the game, especially from Europe. Eric Clapton and the motherfuckers trying to make them blues kings. And then when they brought the Beatles over, they showed in the movie a little bit, but Ike would go in it. That ain't nothing but nigga music slowing down.
Facts.
That ain't nothing. This he's getting at them.
Yeah.
So they got right back at him. So he got a big rep, and things ain't always like they seem. The same thing with Chris Brown. They tried to make him the new Ike Turner, but too much of that story came out where he was actually the one getting his ass kicked. He's the one who she had bite marks, and people were saying, well, she had bite marks. That's defensive shit. Like he's trying to defend himself. He's getting fucked up. So people looked at it different, and he's still existing because they couldn't Ike Turner him. But it needs to be looked at again. So he was a bad motherfucker. I always say that when I get the opportunity.
Right.
So Mike had to be Mike. I went through a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, a lot of hardship, but I know I wouldn't be panicked without going through it.
Right.
So then see, that's where it comes down to, like, if I am who I say I am and doing what I'm doing, I don't feel I have the right or just, it's not in my thought I'm here because somebody put me here to learn itself. Yes, me. I put me here to learn itself. I'm God. And at the very least, if you can't see yourself like that, your soul, like Odo, Deep Space Nine, connects to that big pool. So, and he would connect with that big pool, download his information, and download information from that pool. When he got out, he knew who he was. He was the man. He found his people, and they were a collective entity that ran the universe. And all it was a big ass lake of knowledge all around the universe, and all they did was send pieces of themselves out. Familiar? Some of us make it back, some of us take longer times. The conscious ones are the ones next up on the ship. The mothership is coming to pick us up. Consciousness is the beginning of being done with this place. Knowledge, I'm so used to saying consciousness, but knowledge of self is actually how you get out of here. Those dedicated to studying, those dedicated to understanding, especially those abuses, to be able to forgive, release, find compassion. I had to find compassion for my mother. I did that by first looking at her age. She was 18 when she had me. So I started to say, she was 18 when she had me. So I started to say, look at my son, how stupid he is. So it gave me compassion. Then my father was 23. These were kids. So it started the pathway of forgiveness and compassion. So once I had started really finding compassion and work with that, and they're only human. They don't lord over this. They did the best they could, blah, 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 blah. The little basics you start finding forgiveness and then finding healing. That's all in chakra work. And it's all in the heart chakra work. And those are all the attributes you notice of Jesus. Jesus is nothing more than the heart chakra gateway to become the Christ. Right. So healing, compassion, and forgiveness. That's all his attributes that they made a man, but it's actually the attributes of the work that you need to do on the lower chakras in terms of releasing them. It's more detailed, but that's a basic overall of starting the pathway to forgiving those who you think abuse you. Everything is a mommy issue. When you came here and there was no real ego, you was at your basic, just crying to eat and in pain and discomfort. You didn't know how to express what you wanted yet. So, and you don't know what pain or hurt is. That's why they have to watch the baby or walk into anything, touch anything, put anything in their mouth, because your ego tells you no, it'll kill you. They don't have that yet. So the mother, no, don't do that. Stop, sit up, stop. No, sit up, cross your legs. Don't do that. What you say thank you, say thank you, say thank you, blah, blah, blah. This is programming. This is repetitious programming. So the mother, as y'all go through life and the flaws, all the shit you think the kid didn't see, and they eventually grow up, and then it'd be shit you thought was the greatest greatness. And they'd be like, but you fucked me up with that one. Nigga, I thought that was the best move ever. You just never know what's in their head. So it almost seems like they need to see something fucked up to exist. They need something to overcome. Like my boys needed to be mad at us to finally get out. And I think it's final. To finally get out, they can't just do it. They have to be mad at us so they can show us something. They need something to get there. And everyone needs something to get there. That's what the abuse is. I think that's the nature of this place. Everyone in some sort of way is being, and then let's say your mom was the greatest, I'm sure your job, somebody. And if you're having a great life, Brother Phil already told you again, agitation is missing. You'll be back, son.
Shit, man. Damn. So with you talked about the astral realm, right? Let me bring up a personal example to make it more real and get your opinion on it. So when my mother was in the hospital, like before she passed away, she had kidney failure. So she was on dialysis. So there was times when she was fucked up bad. She had to go to the hospital, stay there a couple of nights. Right. There was one time she was messed up real bad, and she was like, I think she was in like a coma. I'm not sure. She was asleep or something. And she told me when she woke up, she was like, yo, Rich, I seen your father. She was like, man, that nigga had the nerve to tell me, her nickname was G. So she was like, he told me, G, come with me. So she was like, nigga, I got these kids to take care of. I ain't coming with you, nigga. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, when she said, man, get the fuck out of here. I'm going with this kid. That's when she woke up. She was like, she immediately woke up. Right. So would that be, using that as a personal example, would that be an example of the astral world?
Absolutely, because that's her first stop.
Right.
I can tell you two things about that. I had a boy, KL. He was in a rap group called Screwball. He passed from complications of asthma. He had real bad asthma. And finally caught up with him. I think he made 40-something. And he was a business dude. Since he did have records out, Marley Marl did his eulogy. Premier Pete Rock worked with them, so they were there. to see him off. And Marley said, yo, I've been doing this shit for more years than a lot of y'all been alive. And KL would still come to me with angles. This cat had angles up the ass. In fact, me and him got closer. We knew each other since we was little. I know his cousin, Poet. We got closer because I started selling porn and I was killing them. And one day I seen him. I said, yeah, sometimes I need help dropping it off at mailboxes. So he said, I'll get you. I called him one day. We filled up his car to capacity. The whole inside was filled with video boxes, you know, bags, and we holding them over. I just remember that nigga said, all of that is $10. I was like, yeah, some 20, some double, some killing them. 25 G's a month, killing them, filling up all the mailboxes all the way down to the hood. He just loved that shit, the hustle. He passes in dramatic form. But long story short, I said, I'm going to get him through the astral world. There was another guy who died. Their name of the group was Screwball. The guy who died, his street name was Screwball. They dedicated the group to him. Lou came through, said, get him to me. Never did anything like that before, but wasn't scared about it. So went into the meditation, was going harder, deeper. You see yourself going deeper in darkness, which means you're getting away from this light. And so I could feel I was in that zone, in that place. So this is where imagination and visualization comes in. You want to stop and try to experience it like with your five senses. You're breathing in this dark space. You're moving around. You're looking. You're there. Just by looking around like you just arrived, tricks your subconscious mind into believing you're there.
Right.
That's what you do every time you walk into a new room. You look around.
Look around.
You do the same thing. You're looking with your third eye. So you do the things that your mind repetitiously does ever since you existed almost. Look around, smell, say hi to niggas. What's up, nigga? What's the nigga? Like you just walked into a room. So you know you're in that room and subconsciously you're tricking your mind into believing you're in that room. Now, five senses are your tools now. In Cyclomancy, he shows you how to make your five senses 5 super senses. 5 times, used to do the math. I can't remember. It's in my book, how it connects to the 72. And how the 5 connects, the Baphomet connects to the 72. The 5 points of Baphomet are your 5 points. The 5 points of Baphomet is when you created the super senses. So the 5 senses now become spiritual tools. There was chicks that knew, we walk in a room, they smell the spirits. I used to know what offerings to give when I was doing all my tricks and learning this shit. You need to get that nigga some donuts. You need to give him that. So we was fucking with the, you know, there's audio clearance and audio voyance and audio sensory and audio this, the 7 circuits of the brain. So we was pushing to open those, the 5 senses. You can hear the spirits. You hear them talking in your ear, telling you stuff. You could taste like what food they wanted. Like I said, smell what food they wanted, or smell. The Orishas have a funky ass raw chicken smell. So when I smell that, they not. I know y'all think it's love, but y'all been feeding them so much ignorance that they become ignorant. Remember, they're just energy signatures. So if you say they're that, eventually they're going to become that. They're going to serve you as that. So they were never meant for mass consumption. They were meant for the Yoruba people, not for the world. So when the world uses them and uses them the way they use them, yeah, it's real, because you can make anything up and be a spirit. That's what Jesus is. Mm-hmm. Shit, you can worship Harry Potter and get more out of him than Jesus. Jesus was created as a vampire energy. to keep you locked down. So you worship that. Even the name God, you know what I'm saying? Outside of yourself, it still becomes vampire. You think you're performing for somebody, that you're living up to somebody. No, it's true in a more metaphysical way. If you apply your divine, remember the mind is all and the universe is mental. If the mind is all, then that means what's the all? God. Your mind is God. So if you study your mind, that's why they say know thyself. You're studying the universe. The mind is all. The universe is mental. That means to study the entire universe, what must you study? Just your mind.
Just your mind.
I teach in class mind calisthenics. We getting down to it. Your mind is God. It is of its divine birthright. There's nothing outside of you. Nothing in it, around it, or on it that does not belong to you or her. You're God. And that's a cheap name for you. God is just a title, to be quite honest. When you mastered the number 7, you become God. I became God because God is a creator. I can make anything I want materialize in front of me. Starburst, bing, anything materialize. Physical. It's not even fun to do no more. I don't even do that no more.
You say you live deliciously.
Deliciously. That's old shit I used to say.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's actually old shit I used to say when I was trying to magnetize this, because it was a moment I was saying, yo, y'all niggas ain't got to be poor. You know it, Rich, when you bring me in for New York lectures, the vendors be selling out. My people come with bread because I never told them they have to be poor selling goddamn incense. Like my boy Jeff, the slave, I'm on the plantation. I know, excuse me. I know it's a plantation. I know that shit ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but it's also you have a divine mind. If you got to be there, nigga, make it sensational. If you keep calling it the plantation, then what else can it ever be? He said, yo, I don't even notice the shit no more. He just changed his mind. Don't know. I started talking about that. What was I talking about right before that? It was something good I was going to tell you.
Okay.
Somebody might say it. I'm looking in the chat room.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This might jog in memory. Since we just finished talking about the astral realm, I got a question that's very interesting question. I would say this very interesting. Throughout the years, I've been behind the scenes asking questions for a while.
Right.
Just communicating with the people. I've heard several females say that, hey, so and so tried to have sex with me in the astral realm. What the hell is going on with that? It's because they swear these individuals is contacting them through the astral realm. Talk to me about that, my brother. Talk to me about that.
Okay. Think about this. You'll get it, and this is a little bit more hard of an explanation. Not really, but listen to all the elements, because I realize this, and it may be hard for people. The average person is going to be hard. So there's many different rich personalities. There's angry rich, happy rich that's in this mode right now, that's asking questions, interested. There's rich at a picnic, rich with his baby, rich as a son, rich as a father, rich with his routine, rich at his job, rich fired from his job, rich in White Castles. 1,000 different personalities. Most I'll never meet. So if you're not using those personalities, but they could turn up at any time. Once I seen Rich get mad. Woo! Wait, you don't want to make him mad. In fact, I told B.O.B. that story. He said, Rich? We was at a live lecture and somebody kept fucking with Rich. I was standing right there and Rich had some product. And the dude was like just all touchy and doing all this shit, kind of slapping his shit around or something, and said some funky shit. And you know, we at the lecture, Rich said, "What the fuck did you say?" I said, "Oh shit." He said, "Nah, you talking to the wrong dude." Dude just yielded like he didn't expect it, and that's why he was doing that funky shit.
Right.
And I said, "Oh man," that's when I said, "Rich ain't no fucking hotepper. Like there's a limit." And like that, Rich handles himself like a gentleman all the time. I've seen him, and I've seen him many years before there was a YouTube. He's always handled himself like a gentleman. So now, and that's what he presents. But since he has a kid, there's a sexual Rich somewhere. I'll never know who that Negro is. But where's sexy Rich right now? It's your personality. Where does it exist when you're not using it? Don't. Well, let's guess. Where would you say?
Shit, I have no idea. That's a hell of a.
I'm talking about it all day. The astral world.
In the astral, wow.
Sex Rich is a spirit. You use them every time you pull them out. Every time you get in bed with your girl. I'm here, baby. See my shoulders?
Yeah.
He exists there. You call him anytime you need him. But when you at work, you're not using him. Or mad Rich, or picnic Rich, or over happy Rich, or laughing Rich. They're all up there. Sexy Rich or sexy Shirley, we do it all the time as guys. That's why girls feel it more. As soon as we see them, we start looking at her lips. You know what we think. Looking at that ass, you know what we think. But we'll be, oh, yes, Shirley, I have the papers. Well, goodness, they're right here. Oh, Shirley, you're such a loot. Damn, boy, the way that shit, you know, when she walking off. So we visualize, which is magic, all the sexual energy we're sending her way. Boom. The little that they see is only what they're able to pick up on. If they were able to see everything, the motherfuckers would have a nervous breakdown. You know how many, especially if they got it going on.
Yeah.
So what I found is in the astral world, you can connect with anybody's sex. You're not using it. And that aspect of their personality lives for one thing only. To fuck. That's what it was born for. It doesn't, sexual doesn't show up at the pool or at your kid's school. It shows up in very limited places. And it only does one thing. So if you access it in the astral world, it only does one thing. Now, the moral aspect of it. It's not your humanity. And most people put their spirit, soul, and body under the ego or under their humanity. Oh, he's touching my soul. Yeah, it's not ever happened. Or my, it just hit me down in my soul. That's not happening.
Right.
And you could feel it in your spirit, perhaps, but you're getting with an avatar, an empty avatar that you wear like a suit when you need it, but it's you because it's your technique. But you may find other techniques in your life, and that becomes you. It's not you. So the girl who noticed it is because the nigga's probably home masturbating to her, like we always do. Guys visualize girls. When we even watch porn, we look for a girl that looks like somebody we know that we can't have sex with, but we can visualize and see her on the screen. And then it's a deeper, more realistic orgasm. Trust me, that's how you make connections. In fact, that's all the technique I did for astral traveling. I would tell the chicks, y'all, I'm gonna come and we're gonna do this. But you can meet anybody without them knowing, because you're meeting with your spirit is meeting up with their spirit. It's not a moral thing. It's not. See, it's not like you could give them STDs or you're taking their virtue. We do it all the time anyway. So it's nothing dangerous. We think of everyone we see, especially guys, every girl we see, as what type of sexual object they could be or what sexual object they are not. We call it a spank bank. I'm gonna put her in my spank bank. That's what white people call it. Which means she'll come up in my thoughts when I'm self-loving. And when you're in that high state of sexuality, especially if you done did some work up here, opening the pineal, understanding the concepts on astral travel and lucid dreaming, opening up your psychic centers through cyclomancy and so on and such, if you understand that concept, you're going to make realer connections. So it's not really violating the person's virtue. You get what I'm saying? Because they're, like I said, they're funneling it through their social upbringing. This is a total, and understand, in the spirit world, sex is just how you say hello. When I first got with Tammy Terrell, you always heard her story as a youngster. It was sad. She died after Marvin Gaye. They finally put some sort of album together with her. It wasn't great because, they had to piece it together. But I got it and went through it. I was trying to give it to Tammy. She came with her panties off. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what you doing? And you could feel that that's how they come. Like when Phyllis Hyman came. She was the first one I said, they're coming to me, but I'm going to try to get with her. So I just kept looking at all her pictures online, listening to her music all day. I was still working IT. Went home, took a sip of something, put on OWN. The first thing, she told me some graphic shit. I'm not even going to repeat it. But it was nice. It was some real shit. She authenticated herself and she started telling me some old shit. She's telling me some shit. Might have shared it. And if you tall and a woman, y'all need to fuck with Phyllis Hyman. She's like your patron saint. Sophia. Same is a great mother figure. But all that incubus and succubus bullshit is made up European crap.
Oh, so that's bullshit. Incubus and succubus. That's
It's really you. Everything is you. See, think about it for a second. You gotta have one premise here. So is incubus and succubus outside somewhere, ready to attack? Where do they come from? Who made them? Is it God? Is it the devil? The demiurge? See, when you follow the thought pattern, it starts getting thinner. But if you just read the history, is what white people said they didn't understand. So when them succubuses come, shit, nigga, I'll wear a succubus ass. Laid succubuses out, nigga.
Oh shit.
Said, nigga, I give up, nigga. I said, nigga, I don't try it. I learned how to keep my seed. In
shit.
your sperm, there's something called what is it? The light that gets impregnated. Solar phallic something. But if you look at sperm, there's a light around each cell. The light is what gets the person pregnant. Solar phallic energy. So people think because they're so physical, you're supposed to be holding your sperm and bringing your sperm back up. No, your nuts will make liquid all day. It's a factory for it. But the light, if you just shoot and don't know how to, the light is what you bring back to the top. The solar phallic energy. You can lose seeds all day. I did that. None of my queens ever got pregnant. None of that shit. When I was human, they was getting that way. I stopped. I said, and it's hard because you don't know if you really doing it right. But it's a level where I just knew it. So I had a steady girl, and it went. I know I got that shit when I had a female orgasm. It's that's. I promise you, that shit is not a. I don't know how them chicks do it. The shit from a woman, from a guy, we feel the build up in the genitals, then there's a release. My nigga, you could feel the orgasm coming down, nigga. Oh, that shit hit, nigga. Oh, don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? Leave me alone. Hold me. You know what I'm saying? I said, fuck all of that. Fuck all of that shit. I don't want none of that shit. I just want a nut regular. But I knew how to internalize it. I knew how the light was being internalized. Never lost energy, never lost a step, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
So what about, we talk about family. We got about, I'm going to say about 30 minutes left. I want to thank everybody. We got over 2,000 people in the room. We hit the 2-hour mark. We got about a half an hour left. I got to finish cleaning up this basement because this cleanup shit was real.
Oh, man, I can imagine that. Do you have any electronics down there?
Thank God. I got a lot of equipment down here. Thank God none of it got messed up. Ooh, I was able to catch it.
Studio.
My girl reminded me. Matter of fact, I got a Black Magic. Let me show you this bag real quick.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you this. Shit, I see a mosquito in here right now. Yeah. This book bag right here, right? So I got the Black Magic camera in here, and it was on the floor in the water.
In the water?
In the water.
Please tell me the bag saved it.
Yeah, the bag saved it. What saved it? My girl seen it. I didn't see this shit.
Right.
But my girl seen it. Let me just show you, because I didn't even look at. I didn't even look at it yet. So let me. Oh, this shit is a little. No, I'm good. You see this? I had this, and I didn't even look at it yet. So I'm looking at it now. But everything is good though. But yeah, everything. I pretty much got everything up in time. So I'm happy for that, my brother. I'm happy for that.
Excellent. That's good. I'm glad nothing happened. Big time. Like on Earth, it's the shit happens place. And really, you're fighting for those moments, like how your camera got saved. That's why you line yourself up with certain energies and hope. But then you don't want to get discouraged, let's say, if something did happen to the camera, neither. Because one of the first readings I got was an EFI reading. I wasn't into a cult. I was heavy into metaphysics and reading. I had a Orisha girlfriend. I didn't know about it at the time. And this was before Bobby Hemmett. So when Bobby Hemmett came in, he came in talking about how the Orishas got corrupt. I was like, nigga, I am on that page. I just came out of an Orisha house, and that was by design. And stock staring nuts in terms of how religified they got. And that's because they never left religion. You know what I'm saying? They just switched the names. And, you actually have to do work on your subconscious mind to free yourself from that. That's why when we hear things like God is doing this and God is doing that, we still believe that. Even though we consciously know there's no guy in the sky going, oh, my children. But we subconsciously were trained that it's outside of you. So that's why we say incubus and succubus, which is a European myth. They're easy to say. Europeans, they made up that bullshit about Halloween because it's really about the ancestors. But then, oh shit, incubus and succubus is coming. They made up that bullshit about Halloween and incubus and succubus. Read the goddamn script. It's from them. We wasn't talking about that. You can have something draining your ass, and doing all of that can happen. But remember, there's malevolent energies out there too. And that's why the African spiritual system, they had something to protect them from being human. That's why they made them dress and separate and not do this and rites of passage. And it's so orchestrated because the more you go crazy in human thought, the more you pull down, or the more you actually create thought forms that give you this bullshit. All of this bullshit that's happening to us is because of us. Remember, never forget, the elders taught us that Egypt was in decline when they started writing. So if they were in decline back then, what the fuck do you think was happening later? Even all that shit we look up to in cultures had to be in decline up until you have what we have now today. It's good we're at the grand rising, and Rich and I witnessed on this planet, probably many others, but on this planet, the birth of that shit really. You understand what I'm saying? And that led to a big grand rising. I would never thought we would have 2,000 people in the chat room. There's niggas who would lecture to 15 people and be like, today was a good day.
It was a great lecture, right.
Great lecture. 15 people sitting there. So, you know, not everybody gets it. I got to be honest, but they're at the starting gate. And remember, the starting gate is just to be called conscious. There's no conscious community. Conscious is just a description that brings you here. Knowledge of self is what you are. And to have knowledge of self, it's by its very nature is to up your character. Because to have knowledge of self, you're talking about the pristine you. So if you don't see anyone's character improving that chooses to stand in front of you and should be standing in front of you with honor, if you don't see their character improving, how could they be doing the correct work?
Indeed.
If you see their humanity improving, that's telltale. And you should run away or stay around to be entertained, but don't expect to learn.
Indeed. I want to take about 2 or 3 questions from the people before we get out of here, because I see y'all been asking stuff the whole night, but it wasn't that time. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to ask the brother on live a couple of questions. We're gonna take about 2 or 3 questions before we get out of here. And before we do that, Panic, what's your cash app, my brother? What's your cash app? So they can support.
Brother Pan. $, BROTHERPAN. Brother Pan.
All right.
Cash app, $, me boys and girls. Keep the lights on in here.
Yeah, hit up my brother Panic. Make sure you show support. You know what I'm saying? This brother brings some amazing occult information, and I'm very grateful for this interview. Let's see if we got any.
Let me say I'm grateful to be here too, Rich. I always look. You're the only one. It's the confidence, man. It's the confidence. I love to just be around the confidence, and I'm glad for that. I am glad to be here, bro.
So somebody panicked. Somebody said, "How to hold the light from the seed." When wrong.
Oh, from the sexual thing.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna front my nigga. I kind of, it's no one method, and I have a lot. I always give methods. I didn't do anything. I first started reading the Montauk Chia. Oh, I did do something from Cyclomancy. I forgot. Okay. There's a technique in Cyclomancy, almost like Montauk Chia. Like all this shit is in 2008, 2007. I gotta remember. Montauk Chia tells you to sit on the edge of a chair and with your PC, your PC muscles, you know, the shit that you stop your urine to pull up. And what you're really doing is starting to get the muscles to get sperm to go back this way. But in Cyclomancy, you don't have your nuts off the edge. They tell you to do this shit, nigga, and this shit work. All I did was this. You visualize energy in your testicles, which it is, your life force is there, right? And it has the connection, as Brother Phil said last Wednesday, your spinal fluid is not connected to your blood, it's connected to your mind and your nuts. It's a straight pathway. So you visualize energy going to your medulla oblongata. You breathe it up. You're storing energy. And when you open up your eyes, because remember, your eyes are connected to the back of your head, you can shoot out energy. So you got to make your intention here, right? So this is what's in Cyclomancy so far. I used to get on the train. I'm going to answer this question. I used to get on the train, just open the eyes slow. You literally would shoot your shit out. It would literally burn. That's also called the evil eye. I said, "Oh, this is the evil eye." You can literally feel you can't hold your shit if you do it right, but you're shooting your vision over to her. And it was crazy. I was just watching American Psycho. Everyone watched it for the third season because they did the Marie Laveau thing, and Angela Bassett played it. That was that show. So I'm on the third season watching it for real this time. And she's training a witch, another white witch training another white witch. She said, what you got to do is imagine and visualize him happier in the middle of the street and watch him do it. Now, they did the dramatic thing. She did it. He walked in the middle of the street. But the technique is sound. Remember, again, there's a movie called The Master. The same dude directed Boogie Nights. But the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, is in it. People find it from that. It was on cable at one point, so you might be able to still get it free. Now, so with that being said, it shows you a lot of techniques in this book. I used to be on the train after work, Rich getting off. So I would visualize the woman across from me, nipples getting hard. Let me tell you, the first thing he says in this book is you need a buzzword or a trigger word that makes you happy. He said he fucked with Clark Gable, old ass nigga. He fucked with Clark Gable. Clark Gable was on that dark side shit. And he said Sammy too. He said Clark's was steak. He said when you think of something like steak, you start flooding with alkaline, and alkaline's more electric and psychic. So that's the first thing you do. You think of your thing, your word. You know what mine was? Titties. Boom. And the first thing I started practicing was seeing if I could get an image of what kind of nipples women had. Now, why so nasty? Because for guys, probably women too, they just don't admit it because they were trained not to. But if there's no consequences, they go to the club and sit on all the dicks they could for a cup of Hennessy. If no one said you're pregnant, VD, you're nasty, you're a whore. If that didn't exist, cause we damn sure would doggy style every woman sitting at the bar while we drink our one cup of Hennessy. So why deny them that? You know what I'm saying? So all right, now so titties was mine, and I first started trying to see if I could pick up the kind of nipple, big areolas, the ones with all the bumps on the areolas, the one with hair. The titties was, flopping, looking like eyes in the nose near the navel. Titties are a smorgasbord of colors, sizes, shapes. It's like Willy Wonka of titties. Willy Wonka. So now, I even if you're totally off point, even if you said, see, nigga, oh, damn, I had this all wrong, but I'm still going to suck it. You know what I'm saying? Your effort is the key. There's another thing he'll say, look at a spot in the wall, close your eye, turn around, do a spin, close your eyes, and try to walk to the wall, see if you can touch the spot. Then do it from further away. See how far you get. It's not about touching the spot. It's about doing this shit. So it's exercises. What you're doing, you got to understand that psychic powers, those centers are sleeping in you. So they don't just wake up because you read a book. You have to exercise again. Just like if you got out of a coma, they've atrophied. You have to work your legs. You know what I'm saying? Your muscle mass is down. So this shit has to be worked. these are techniques in working it. So then I would started the shooting of the image, and I would shoot the image where I wanted their nipples to grow, or I wanted them to fall asleep on the train, or I wanted them to fall asleep and open their legs so I could see what color their panties were. Why the sex? Yet again, for a guy, it's everything you think of all day. You won't lose focus. Now, there's plenty of things I've done that went just beyond sex, but when you're trying to get into some astral traveling, I was going to see all the chicks I could call and muster. So that the Hasidic Jews, which there are communities in New York, as you know, they get on the train, nothing but itch attacks. I knew how, for some reason, I knew how to make them itch. I would shoot, I would close the eyes, see them itching, and just open it slowly. Like you try, you don't look straight at them. Like even doing that, I'm looking at this picture, like I could feel the energy leaving. It's pushing me back. It's incredible. But you gotta just PC muscle, but you're shooting it up with a breath. It's like you're pulling it up from your nuts. You're not pulling the thing. The more I did that, the more I think that tapped into that sexual energy. That was bringing the light up. Not really having physically my nuts off the bed and me doing the PC exercise. I was just shooting and visualizing the energy coming up. And that, I think, started the process. I can't bet on that, nigga. You test the water right, son. Because you might be like, Panic got me fucked up right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's big dog shit. But so far, so good. I'll tell you that much. I lost your sound, Rich. Your mic is muted.
Yeah, my fault. Even when you in the street panic, and I might have mentioned this to you before, when you're a lot of times when you're thinking about somebody, or say somebody's thinking about me or staring at me, I automatically turn around and spot them right away. So
right.
I catch them staring at me. So it's like before something in me realized that they were staring at me. Like they
get it, man.
Like they was hitting me with some type of like beam or some shit.
Right.
And
and literally feel the eyes are a two-way street.
Yeah.
You always think the eyes are receiving, but then you heard there's something called the evil eye that you can give off. But I'm sure there's books that you could, but I knew I found it. But yes, that's exactly it. You could pick up on the energy through the eyes. You know what I'm saying? So now he's showing you just yet another way to energize the eyes to send a message through. This book is fucking bad, yo. I'm telling you, it's fucking bad. He shows your ass, and if you could get anything by Frank Rudolph Young, that's the author. There's some of his work floating around. It's all old shit. It's all about psychic powers, visualization, and how to strengthen yourself. You will become a one-man army out of this shit. And then if you also add the astral traveling, forget about it. That's the receiving end. Once you keep fucking with that, it's exercise. Don't give up. Don't think it's about success. I was at Rich's house. Keep trying. People give up. They don't have faith in themselves. And then there's this little voice calling Rich that says, God is outside of you. It ain't in you, son. And then that voice is in you because you grew up in the church and that's all they told you. You didn't go through any rigorous training to unwind that shit. All you went was with new information and said, oh, Oshun. Well, I guess she's God. And she's outside me. So I got to ask Oshun to give me something. Oh, I was doing this for Oshun to give me. Oh, Oshun. Oshun allowed me to braid her hair in a dream. How many times you heard that shit? You know, I'm like, that bitch hair that nappy? Yeah, I was saying shit like I had twosomes with Yim and Ya and Oshun. All that shit is real. Oh, and I'm sitting there like they're not people. And your mom's had sex. If you the first know what the trick was, and what Bobby did was the first trick was trying to show you that you're peer to peer with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I talk to the gods and I curse them out and I argue with them. He's trying to psychologically show you that you're peer to peer with them. Mm-hmm. But he's telling you as their personalities outside, because that's all niggas knew. So I was fortunate coming after Bobby to be able to speak more on their inside of your ass, their energy signatures, their aspects of your mind, their formulas for you to fuck with through your altar, through candle magic, through crystals, through breathing techniques, through meditation, through altars, through astral traveling, through chakra work, through goddamn everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing is a way to access. You get what I'm saying? And there's nothing that escapes it. And this, to be a little bit arrogant, is the last hope. Ain't none of. Let's be real. And I'll do you one better. Let me just save y'all some time so I don't sound egotistical or arrogant. Bobby Hemmett used to say to me, a cult will be the last man standing.
Whew.
Because everything comes out of it. And I know people don't want to hear that shit. They feel what they got is what they got. But everything, if you're going to be healthy, you only should be healthy. You're healthy to do what? Study yourself. If you're going to be metaphysical, metaphysics is more of a description of the beyond, but not how to get in and do hands-on. So you talk about fractals, you talk about the Fibonacci code and the perfection of the numbers, but how do you access that shit? How do you get into that shit? There's my boy Casanova Rudd. I want to give his Instagram if that's cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's CASANOVARUD. He was with, remember Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd? Rudd turned out to be conscious. He was the DJ. And Rudd, like night and day, something turned on. And this nigga, you ever see in movies, that nigga 5 + 5 minus 7 equals 2 + 5. He went crazy with numbers. He knew all this math shit. Mathematicians is fucking with this nigga. He's like, I don't know how it happened. He didn't know shit about none of this shit. He draws these fucking patterns. Go to his Instagram, Casanova Rudd, CASANOVARUD. And then that nigga called himself Nova. I said, damn, your God name was in that name. As much dumb shit we did in the 80s, because we all was kind of collective together during that Do the James. You remember that old New York shit. And so he was my nigga. So it's just good to see him conscious. But this nigga, something happened. He went crazy with numbers. Go see his shit. You won't believe what he's drawing. This nigga will draw patterns and find shit in the Last Supper. Like famous pictures. This nigga, you gotta see this shit.
Casanova Rudd.
I'm
checking that out.
Yeah, when people are seeing he's saying the line is already around the corner, he has to figure something out. When I mentioned it before, because when people see his work, and you could scry into his work, and he'll take your ass there. I think he's going to start doing personal ones. He's still setting up shop, but go see his work. Now, what was we saying before that? But yeah, so I guess Cyclomancy, I guess I was saying The Secret of Psychic Power Control by Frank Rudolph Young. Like I said, nowadays most people are savvy enough to get PDFs. So I barely say I got it and I sell it. I do if you're too lazy or you just want to support. I appreciate that too. I send it to you as a PDF, so it's immediate. And let me put this phone on the other side. I send it to you as a PDF and it's immediate. But I'm not sweating it. If you feel like you should have it for free and you know how to hunt, happy hunting. I'm glad you should get it. But I think it's a very pivotal book. You know what I'm saying? Along
Indeed.
with that astral traveling book. That'll put your niggas in the game.
Put you straight in the game. All
Yes.
right. Let's get to one last question, family. Once again, I want to thank all of you for staying with us. I gotta watch this one again.
Good.
I think this is a good way to end it. Let me put this on the screen.
Okay.
Love the Universe wants to know, how do we make this lifetime our last experience on Earth, Panic?
It's all in your head. Think about this question for a second, Rich.
Mm.
How do we make this our last experience on Earth? Yet again, another backwards question saying you're not God.
Mm.
People don't believe it, Rich. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you read behind the question, if you knew you were God, you would say, well, I'm just not coming back on Earth.
Mm.
I'm in control. Even if you don't say the word God, I'm in control of self. That means you must believe, just by saying that, somebody's putting you here. That's that complex we have that white people put in our head through mind control, that they're sinister.
Mm.
And there's a sinister, evil, invisible hand always working.
Mm-hmm.
And to an extent it is, but then there are people who make that incredibly large for you to have that same mentality during your spirituality. How do we make this lifetime our last experience on Earth? Just don't come back. How do you make this the last time you fuck that ugly girl from school? You just stop fucking her, son. Would you think about that? Would you ask me that? How do I stop fucking this girl, Panic?
Mm-mm.
You would be like, nigga, that's such a stupid thing because I just stop because I know what to do. So you have to get to a point in your study, in your spirituality, where you feel you know what to do. How do I not come back? Because I just ain't coming back. How you not coming back? Because you said you're not coming back. The first thing you need to understand is your mind is in control of it all. You got to understand the stuff I've been teaching for years. Bobby's been teaching, Brother Phil, about going, and others, many others, about going into self, going into the darkness, going within. So when you die, you have no body. So the darkness represent that which is within yourself. And then with KL, I did that meditation that night. That's what we were talking about that I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I seen a little golden light, and I knew that was him. If you walk towards the light, you walk towards the operating room, a birthing room again. You don't want to walk towards the light. You want to walk towards the darkness, which was within. And I found KL to come with me. And then I met him up with my boy Lou. Lou said, I got him. Then I went to sleep. Then he came back doing excited. Yo, I didn't know we were Egyptian. You know, he wasn't conscious of nothing. I didn't know we was Egyptian, man. I said, yeah, nigga. He said, yo, Lou is showing me all of this, and there's still this. He thought life was over, like any other human. And he seen there was more to it. But usually, the average human would have to struggle in the astral world, because the astral world is a part of this. Listen closely. What I found out, and I'm remembering this now, like as I'm telling you stories, I remember the wisdom from it, that those who have helped spirits, when they die, the spirits are there for them. So remember, Lou was there for KL because Lou named the group Screwball. And while we were filming, laying next to all the girls, Screwball, 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 Lou said it woke him up. Because when he got shot at 23 with green eyes, the whole hood is ashamed. And he had green eyes. You know how many girls he would have got? He said all that was a magnetic pull that kept him in the astral world.
Mm.
He said he was like a law. There's a real saga of the lost boy where they can't move on and they can't come back. The soul is there, so they're like sleeping in the astral world because now they are magnetized to what nigga said. Look at all the girls he was gonna get. So because they don't have the mind strength, they're so young and they haven't learned how to control their mind. When they say shit like, how do we make ourselves stop in another lifetime? That's just another saying you don't control your own fucking mind. So of course, Lou can control his mind. The hood controlled it for him and created a heaven for him with a lot of girls in the astral world. So when we started doing all of this in front of the girls, we woke him up. He was able to see. He said then he was able to move on by us kept invoking his name around all the sexual energy. I was like, oh, nigga, you welcome. And I thought that was it. And KO died like 2 days later. Lou, why didn't you tell me? It don't work like that, but get him to me. Got him to Lou. About 4 to 5 months later, KL came through. He said, yo, I'm chilling. We about to go see Richard Pryor. They have universes. I could tell you shit about that all day, too. Niggas like Gerald Levert's voice is a universe.
Oh, shit.
If you want, like, going to see his CD is going to visit his worlds. He took, B.O.B. did a song. It was about Gerald Levert.
It was called Gerald Levert, wasn't it?
Called Gerald Levert. Yeah, it was called Gerald Levert.
Yeah, I think.
And yes, that was it. And so it was dedicated to Gerald Levert. We got some bird, and they was doing bird sounds and birds in the video. We got some bird liquor. It was the Akashic weekend. We poured to Gerald. As soon as we took the mushrooms on the second day, Gerald hit me hard. I'm on that chase, this nigga. And Gerald brought me to his world. And I remember saying to him, because you know, you still got your human mind. Yo, the architecture, the shit, some of this shit's upside down, nigga. He's like, yo, he said, this ain't the third dimension. He said, this is me. This is what is encompassed in my talent in the body exists as a place you visit of beauty. So know how we put on a Gerald Levert CD and we in that Gerald Levert mood.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom's would be like that. She put on some shy lights or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in the house. Come on, Richard, dance with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make you just do that slow dance with her. All right, get out of here. You don't want to dance. Right? So she's in that zone, if you will.
Mm.
That zone, you can go see it. You can go experience it like a world.
Mm.
And it's Gerald Levert or whoever. Richard Pryor, comedians have a whole thing. Scholars have a whole thing. Scholars, comedians, singers and performers, any creative thing in a category, it exists where you see it as an experience and you could just be there. You know what I'm saying? You can live in that place if you want. There's no time. So it's like hanging out with Gerald Levert to CD until you're tired. So and they invite you to certain other worlds, deeper worlds. And he was showing me a deeper world and told me, he was telling me B.O.B. has residence there for just singing that song to him. So he dedicated this to Lou. And Lou took his ass out the astral world. Most of us scream ancestors, but we don't do nothing for them. We do something to get something back. We think it's a system of begging for rent money, a system to beg for your boss to get off your back, a system for money. It's not that. What do you do for them and just salute? Or for somebody and just salute? And that's what KL did from his heart. Named the band Screwball. When he told me, I said, oh, because Lou was like my little nigga. I didn't know his street name. I said, oh, I didn't know that was Lou. He said, yeah, that was Lou. He said, I named the band that and fought for it. I wanted to honor Lou. Lou's artwork was on the back. I said, you gave me a copy without artwork. I never seen that. And Lou said, when KL died, bring him to me. Lou was already dead since the 80s. took him right out the astral world because you could get caught up there as part of the illusion. Remember in the beginning, I said it could be a hell. Watch the movie What Dreams May Come. It is a perfect description of the astral world and what happens when you die. Robin and William, well, their kids die. The mother has a nervous breakdown. Her husband was the last string that was holding them together. Robin Williams, he dies. So they show you in the astral world, Cuba Gooding Jr. is hosting him. And long story short, they said, see this world? You made it. This is your idea of heaven. He said, this is a painting that me and my wife bought at a flea market that we thought was the most peaceful thing. It was hanging in our foyer, dining room or whatever. He said, well, you're living in it now, your idea of heaven. Then when he went to visit his daughter, as he's talking to her, she's a Chinese lady, so he thinks he's just talking to her. Then he started remembering a toy she had. And she was in that world of her toy. Then Cuba Gooding Jr. said, look, when we're together, listen closely to this. When we're together, we're co-creating. They're in the astral world. When we're together, we're co-creating. But this is your world. So I could go back to my world and make whatever I want. But I could come here and work with you on some shit. So that's how we still have sex in the astral world. So there is another consciousness, or those things have the... Okay, remember I said all your personalities in the astral world? Once you die, all of them now become one in your spirit. There's no reason for your body to snatch it as it needs it. So now they all exist in the astral world. They come together as one now. So the girl can call on your sexual spirit or your angry spirit or people who knew you in whatever context can do that, right? And you can say it came at one, but they're probably calling on them individually because they all exist there, but separately in their own world or whatever. But now, or maybe not, or maybe it comes at one. Doesn't matter. Now, so KL came, said he's about to go see Richard Pryor. I'm like, damn, nigga, you living it up. He said, let me tell you something. Remember those herbs you used to smoke? Yeah, the ones I made up. He said, put some more of that together and start selling it. Never, nigga. Remember, he was the ultimate hustler. They eulogized him with hustle, like this, saluting him that. That'll never work. Niggas are gonna hand this shit back in droves. You know what I'm saying? Because it worked your mind. It doesn't do it for you. It's a tool. You already know the rest.
That change your life,
right?
That change,
life changing, and that's from KL because I got him through the astral world.
Through the astral world. Wow.
Look, it's not and this was connected to his soul because he was freshly dead. So his soul was moved on. He loved the universe, would not have known how to not come back. You know better. You should know better. He doesn't know any better. So he had people to help and he was looking for me. And then I got confirmation. There was a girl who I'm not gonna say her name, but you probably know her. She was like, yo, I seen you. She called me. Yo, I seen your friend in the spirit world. She said, I was guiding people through. And your friend showed up. And he said, yo, where's Panic? As soon as he said that, you came through the room and snatched them. She didn't know I did that ritual that night. I said, oh, this bitch is on it. You know what I'm saying? So the astral world is a little bit tricky when you die because your soul does leave the body with you. If your soul is even here, my soul is not on earth. I'm reflecting myself from a star. Remember, Bobby used to always do that shit. You go outside and you can see that star. It always follows me. When C. Freeman died, we talked. There's another name for it, not avatar. There's another more spiritually kind of name that they call it. But in this Hindu shit, that once you did all of this, you know not to have your soul fall back into humanity, because you really could get lost climbing back out. But you know how to reflect yourself like an avatar, your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So when I die, I don't have to go through all of that. Bobby wouldn't, certain others, I would say. You know what I'm saying? Many of us who were on this side of the game, probably you too, if I were telling the story. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you judge by heart. You judge by heart. Rich is, like I said, stand-up guy, more than so. So now, what was I saying? Oh, so what the fuck was I saying? Well, I could say this. I can't remember, like, that's when I'm in the spirit, when I just be losing what the fuck I'm saying. When my pops went, already had experience with KL. So I knew I could get a nigga out. Ready for this, Dad?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, no, I'm coming back. It was almost like it's no thing to him. So while it may be a big thing for us, because we thinking of the bills, remember, this is still a hologram, a dream world. So when you get on that other side, you may be going, no, I didn't get what I need yet. I don't care about that. This bodies ain't real. When I die, the real me is chilling. Nothing ever happened. I'm just putting on a suit. But when you're in that suit, oh, fuck, here they come again with these masks, these vaccines. When you're in the suit, no, the white man. So I get that, and everybody wants to die and not come back. But my father came back. Before I even said anything, my nephew had a son, my sister's grandchild. It's my father. Ain't no, she said this shit before I even got a chance. Everything, you know what I'm saying? It's him. He came back, like you said. And you just, we gotta understand, we are of a divine mind, and there's levels in our mind. There's unconscious, subconscious, and conscious. Sometimes they mix unconscious and subconscious together, but Carl Jung kind of separated the unconscious a little bit more and talked about the unconscious collective and certain attributes of the unconscious mind. You know how to breathe, blink, and do all of these things. Either you could attribute it to the demiurge creating his body, or you creating it and making agreements in sciences with these functions, and you don't remember how. You don't need to remember or think about blinking. Just do it. What part of your thinking is that coming from in your brain? What part of that comes from? There's a part that is unconscious of your blinking until you pay attention to it. You understand what I'm saying? That unconscious part also said, I'm going to choose this mother. I'm going to do this work. I'm going to do that. When you get here, you don't know. So now you get to the other side and you remember a bigger part of your purpose. The reason you came down here in the first place. And you always knew it was a two-parter. Shit. Or you may be like, shit, nigga. Fuck that. That shit was fun, nigga. It's not real. Or you may wake up in a total recall bed and niggas go, nigga, it's 2014. You don't fucking know that. You know what I'm saying? And the things that you got to do are in you. No one can tell you. You got to look under every stone to come up with what you come up with. Because at the end, with whatever you come up with in your mind will be absolute fact. So you got to read behind your psyche when you say, how do we make this lifetime our last experience on earth? You tell yourself that. First, you need to tell yourself that you can tell yourself that. And then you need to tell yourself that. You haven't got to the point where you convince yourself that you can do what you want to do. How do we do that? All you have to do now is go on YouTube and listen to a fucking 18-hour lecture I did called How to Die and Not Come Back by what the pyramid text and what they said. So I've given instructions on what to do, but but you still coming back with instructions if you think something is guiding your ass, that you need to go to the left so you don't get fucked up. No, you'll know what to do. when you convince yourself that you know
what to do.
everything's in you.
Excellent answer, my brother. That's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's out here, family.
See, I'm starting to get souped up now. I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's so many lecturers that are gone now. And we coming up on like 13 years or so that I've been speaking. So now I'm starting to become not the side bitch as much. And now I kind of start to know what Bobby and Phil felt like when they started. Because remember, we the ones that started calling them master
teachers and all of
elders.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to hear that a little bit more. So now I can see you start to be this guy. Yeah, bless you. Yeah, right, like it. You know, before 5 + 5, you got to do that. You got to do. Then when you go back, then now it's like, yeah, beloved, I love you. Just keep up the good work. Yes, beloved.
Facts.
So I don't want to become too souped up.
I hear you, my brother. Leave your contact information one more time for the people before we get out of here.
All right, y'all all know me, so it's easy to find me. If you Google Brother Panic, the first page is everything I got. There's Instagram. It's like Bropan. It's BRTHA, Brother Panic, PANIC. So BROTHA. PANIC is Brother Panic. I have a Patreon, of course. Y'all need to join for exclusive content, which I'm going to put some more up soon. I'm looking to put more eye opener up. I just got to make CDs. I got a shitload of tapes still, Rich. I still got all those tapes. And so exclusive content, patreon.com/Brother Panic. You can get my Facebook. My website is Occult Lectures, OCCULTLECTURES.com. There you could connect to my wife's website, Samdi Readings, SAMID. I'm sorry, let me do that over. SAMEDIREADINGS.com. There she does her readings, her classes, her workshops, chakras, Akashic, and a whole heap of shit you need to see. Everyone should know Khadijah by now and see what she got going on her site. You can connect to it through mine, which is Occult Lectures. My YouTube is the same thing, Occult Lectures. Cash App, I guess is the last one, $ Brother Pan, BROTHERPAN. Hit me up. Keep the lights on, son. Everything counts and helps. And I always appreciate you guys. I always appreciate Rich's forum. I always appreciate my brother Rich. It's very hard for me to say no to brother Rich. He's always been there. He's that guy. It's very hard for me to say no. Even if he ain't do shit for me, it's hard for me to say no. He's just a good guy. So I'm always there for Rich. He knows it. And, I always enjoy it. I always enjoy your questions. And, again, it's still is and always will be my honor to be here, Rich, on your show.
Thank you, my brother. Once again, thank you to Panic. Thank you for everybody in the room. Brother Rich, Brother Panic, we signing out, family. Peace. Have a good night.
Peace, guys. Thanks for coming, guys. Love y'all.